Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you a verb tense that I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm going to teach it, show you how to form it, and show you how to avoid it just like I do. So you're probably asking yourself, why do I need to use a verb tense that I'm going to avoid? I'm going to tell you that as well, okay? Today, I will teach you how to recognize the passato remoto. At the end of the video, you're going to know how to form it, use it, and as I said, avoid it like I do. The passato remoto is a verb of the past tense, and it's used to describe completed actions in a distant past. It's commonly used in literature, in facts, and like historical facts, and informal writing. Let's look at an example. Dante scrisse la Divina Commedia nel XIV secolo. Dante wrote the Divine Comedy in the 14th century. As you notice, I'm talking about a historical fact that dates back in time, a long time ago, in the 14th century. Let's look at another example. Napoleone conquistò l'Italia nel XIX secolo. Napoleon conquered Italy in the 19th century. Once again, I'm talking about a fact that dates really back in time. Now, I told you that I usually do not use this, and it's true, because in some parts of Italy, we hardly ever use it. We can say that it's sort of dying out in some areas of Italy. And instead of passato remoto, we use passato prossimo. I said we because, for example, I'm from the north, I'm from Lombardy, and honestly, I really never use it. I will say sono andata a Milano in treno, and I would never say andai a Milano in treno to say that I went to Milan by train. Now, it's just simply not natural to how I speak. So I prefer to use passato prossimo. This doesn't mean that I'm speaking a bad Italian. It's just a different kind of Italian, okay? Let's look at the difference with passato prossimo to see why maybe I should use passato remoto. Keep in mind that theoretically the passato remoto will describe an event that's very distant if you're comparing it to the present. So an event that's very far back in the past. For example, 10 anni fa andai a New York. I went to New York 10 years ago. If I use passato prossimo, usually I would need to use it to describe events that are in the past but a closer past, not so far away. So I would say, ieri sono andata a Milano. Yesterday I went to Milan. So I'm talking about a past that's not so far back, like 10 years ago. I'm talking about yesterday. Now, the problem is that whether the past is distant or near is subjective. This is why some people just use passato prossimo and don't use passato remoto. Also, passato remoto should not have any references to the present, while passato prossimo can. For example, oggi a pranzo mangiai la pizza. Better. Oggi a pranzo ho mangiato la pizza. Now, the difference between the two is not so relevant nowadays. So you're probably going to ask, why do I have to learn it? And my answer is, well, at least recognize it, okay? It's your choice to use it or not. If you want to use it, you have to learn it and use it correctly. It's important to know it if you're reading books in Italian because Italian literature uses passato remoto and also it's widely used in southern Italy. So if you're visiting the south, you are going to hear it. So I say, read it, understand it, and use it if necessary. In Italian, there's a saying that says, impara l'arte e mettila da parte, which means learn the art and put it away. Put it away for future use. You know it. If you need to use it, you know how to use it correctly. So let's look at how to form the passato remoto. To form passato remoto, you have to, as always, cut off the endings to all of the infinitive verbs. So you have to take off are, ere, ire. This will give you what we call the verb stem. On that, you need to add the appropriate suffix that is linked to passato remoto. Now, each verb class, so are, ere, ire, will have its different endings. The group that ends with ere has two options for some subjects. Yeah, I know, horrible. This is how you conjugate regular verbs in passato remoto. Let's look at regular verbs that end with are, like parlare. Io parlai, tu parlasti, lui, lei parlò, noi parlammo, voi parlaste, loro parlarono. Let's do the exact same thing with verbs that end with ire, like dormire. Io dormii, tu dormisti, lui, lei dormì, noi dormimmo, voi dormiste, loro dormirono. And then the tricky ones, the ones that end with ere, like ricevere. In some cases you have two options. Io ricevetti or ricevei, tu ricevesti, lui, lei ricevette or ricevé, noi ricevemmo, voi riceveste, loro ricevettero or riceverono. I know, they're horrible. They're difficult to say. I have problems saying them because I never use them. As you have noticed, there are some accents on these verbs. Please write them out and say them. Otherwise, you are going to switch to another verb tense. So, for example, lavoro means I work. It's the present tense. Lavorò, he worked. Passato remoto. So those little accents are very important. Write them out and also say them. Unfortunately, there are tons of irregular verbs. Now, the rule to the irregular, well, not really the rule, but let's say the hint to learn the irregular verb is that the first person singular will finish with an I. The third person singular will finish with an E, and the third person plural will end with ERO, ero. Let's look at two common and important irregular verbs that you absolutely need to know, which are essere and avere. I suggest that you start learning these two and then you add on to other irregular verbs, okay? I will not say all of the irregular verbs. I will only say essere and avere, and you can download the rest on the PDF that you find in the link in the description box here below. Now, let's look at the two auxiliary verbs. Lui, tu fosti, lui, lei fu, noi fummo, voi foste, loro furono. Io ebbi, tu avesti, lui, lei ebbe, noi avemmo, voi aveste, loro ebbero. So learn these two auxiliary verbs, which are super irregular, and then try to practice by adding irregular ones or by simply looking at the form. As I told you, there are many irregular verbs. I have created like a list of the most common ones that you can learn. It's in the PDF that you find in the link here below. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, you probably already have this PDF in your inbox waiting for you. Now, to practice using this verb tense, try to translate the following sentences. You can translate them and write them in the comments or write new ones yourself, okay? These are the ones that I would like for you to translate. Marco studied at university. They visited Rome last summer. Laura lived in Paris. Paola wrote a famous poem. They ate a pizza in Naples. This is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Reach out to me or write a comment under one of my videos if you need help. Alla prossima settimana. Ciao!